Hello students, how are you? I hope you will be fine. Today we will discuss hydrogen part 2. In previous video we have discussed about the position of hydrogen and some basic terms related to hydrogens. Today we will see the next part of hydrogen. So in today's session we will discuss about hydrides, water and its properties, and last heavy water. So let's start. First we will discuss about hydrides. What are hydrides? So in simple words, hydrides means the compounds which are formed by the reaction of hydrogen with metal, non-metal, okay, either metal or non-metal. So here hydrides dihydrogen under certain reaction conditions combines with almost all elements except noble gas. See, noble gases, these are called noble because they do not react with any element. So that's why hydrogen also don't react with noble gas. But except noble gases, hydrogen reacts with all the elements, with metal, with transition metal or transition elements, p block elements, non metals, everything. So hydrogen reacts with all the compounds to form binary compound, and these are called hydrides. These are called hydrides. Okay, so let's see. The hydrides are classified into three categories. First is ionic or saline or salt like hydrides. Ionic means, for example, sodium chloride, NaCl. NaCl is salt. So like this, if sodium reacts with hydrogen, it forms NaH, Na plus and H minus. So these are ionic or saline or salt like hydrides. Covalent or molecular hydrides, here hydrogen will combine with elements forming covalent bond. So in first case ionic bond, second case covalent bond, and third category metallic or non-stoichiometric hydrides. Okay, so let's see. First is ionic or saline or salt like hydrides. These are stoichiometric compounds of dihydrogen formed with most of the S block elements, which are highly electropositive in character. Okay, see, stoichiometric means what? Stoichiometric means, hydrogen has valency +1 -1, depends on the elements. So the valency of hydrogen is 1, and the valency of S block elements, it is also fixed. Fixed means first group element, its valency is +1, second group element, their valency is 2. So the valencies are fixed. Okay, so what is stoichiometric? Stoichiometric means if the elements react with each other according to their valency. So these are called stoichiometric compounds, means the ratio is fixed and the ratio is according to its valency. So the S block elements, they react with hydrogen to form ionic hydrides, and these are highly electropositive in character. Okay, see, S block elements. Second, significant covalent character is found in the lighter metal hydrides. Lighter metal hydrides means, in first group, the metal lithium is the lightest metal in first group. Okay, so here lithium is the lightest metal, beryllium its lightest metal. So the metal which are lighter, they react with hydrogen to form hydrides, but this hydride has covalent character. Why covalent character? Because you see, if the metal is very small size, metal has very small size, then it's very difficult to remove electron. The size should be significantly greater. Okay, these are very small, so it's a very difficult to remove electron. That's why they have covalent character. So lithium hydride, this one is lithium hydride has covalent character, beryllium hydride covalent character, and magnesium hydride covalent character. So these are the metal hydrides. The ionic hydrides are crystalline, non-volatile and non-conducting in solid state. However, their melts conduct electricity and on electrolysis liberate dihydrogen gas at anode, which confirms the existence of hydride ion. Okay, see, ionic hydride are crystalline, so like sodium chloride, you compare this one with sodium chloride. Okay, we are comparing NaCl and NaH. So see here, NaCl, it dissociates into Na plus and Cl minus, like that. NaH, Na plus and H minus. So like this, ionic hydrides, this one is ionic compound, this one is ionic hydride, this one is solid, like that. This ionic hydride is solid. Non-volatile, non-volatile means at room temperature, the hydrides, they will not convert into gas. Okay, so this one is non-volatile character and non-conducting in solid state. So see, sodium chloride, this one is also non-conducting, it doesn't conduct electricity in solid state. But if we dissolve this NaCl into water, it decomposes or dissociated into Na plus and Cl minus. So Na plus and Cl minus, these are the ions which are responsible to conduct electricity. Like that, sodium hydride, in solid state, sodium hydride is insulator. Okay, it doesn't conduct electricity. But if you dissolve this sodium hydride, it dissociates into Na plus and H minus. Okay, and if Na plus and H minus are obtained, then this will conduct electricity. On electrolysis, this Na plus, it will deposit at cathode and hydrogen at anode, because anode is positively charged and cathode is negatively charged. So liberation of hydrides at anode, it confirms the presence of H plus, means H minus, it converts into H2. So this H2 gas, it liberates at anode. So the liberation of H2 gas, it confirms the existence of H minus ion. Generally, we have studied that H plus hydrogen, it is forming H plus. But if I say here hydrogen, it forms H minus, then what is the evidence? The evidence is the liberation of hydrogen at anode on electrolysis of hydrides. So here hydrides, this confirms the existence of H minus ion. Okay, see, this one the reaction, H minus, it produces H2 and liberates 2 electrons at anode. After that, saline hydrides react violently with water, producing H2 gas. Now see here, saline hydrides means this one NaH. If NaH reacts with H2O, then this reaction is highly exothermic. Okay, so if it is highly exothermic, then it will form NaOH and H2 gas. So the liberation of H2 gas, this is responsible for its violent behavior. Okay, so saline hydrides violently reacts with water to produce hydrogen, H2 gas. Okay, so this is the chemical equation. Now see here, this is here, make one arrow like this. Okay, here is arrow. So these are the ionic hydrides or saline hydrides. Here the important thing is the nature of hydrides. Nature means this one is has ionic character. Okay, and the lighter metal, they form covalent hydrides. Okay, ionic hydrides are insulator in solid state, while in aqueous solution they are conductor. Okay, or if they are melt, they are conductor. And last, saline hydrides react with water to produce hydrogen and alkali. base. Okay, so this is the ionic hydride. Now, after ionic hydride, we will see covalent or molecular hydrides. So, in covalent or molecular hydrides, hydrogen compounds of non-metal have also been considered as hydrides. Okay, so just as I told you, what are hydrides? Hydrides, these are the binary compounds which are formed by the reaction of hydrogen and metal or non-metal. So here, if non-metal they react with hydrogen, then they will form covalent or molecular hydride. The best example of such type of hydrides, it is CH4. You see CH4, in CH4 all the bonds are covalent bond. Carbon, it reacts with 4 hydrogen to form 4 covalent bonds. So these are covalent hydrides or molecular hydrides. Like that, H2O, H2 also forms covalent hydride or molecular hydrides. So now see, molecular hydrides are classified into, first we are classifying molecular hydride or covalent hydride into 3 categories. Electron deficient hydrides. Electron deficient, as the name is, from name it is clear, electron deficient. These are the hydrides in which the electrons are deficient. Okay, for example, here deficiency means the central atom, it will not have 8 electrons, means their octet is not completed. For example, B2H6, it's a diborane. So if you see the structure of diborane, this is a dimer of BH3. Okay, dimer means 2 molecules they combine to form dimer. Now see here, in BH3, as you know, the boron, atomic number of boron, it is 5. Then configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p1. 2s2 means like this one is 2s2, and 2p1, this one is 2p1. In excited state, the electrons from s orbital, they will excite into p orbital, this one, 3 hydrogen, 1 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, 3 hydrogen. So this orbital is vacant. So if this orbital is vacant or empty, then this is electron deficient hydride. Or in simple way, we can see that boron, atomic number 5, configuration is 2 3, 3 hydrogen atoms, these are reacting, means 3, it will get 3 more electrons, so the configuration will be 2 6. But octet, according to octet, there should be 8 electrons. So now these are the electron deficient hydrides. So what are electron deficient hydrides? These are the hydrides in which central element or central metal, this is electron deficient. Okay, so an electron deficient hydride, as the name suggests, has too few electrons for writing its conventional Lewis structure. Example is diborane. Okay, so we have studied about Lewis structure. So in Lewis structure, we are representing 8 electrons in outermost orbit. This one is Lewis structure. Boron, it has 3 hydrogens. Boron has 3 hydrogens. Okay. Then 1, 2, 3, like that. Boron has only 6 electrons, 1 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, 3 hydrogen. So boron, it has only 6 electrons, so electron is it is 2 electron deficient species. Electron precious hydrides. Electron precious hydrides means, precious means fixed. Okay, accurate. So accurate means these are the hydrides in which the central metal or central element, central non-metal, whatever that is, the central element, its octet is completed. Okay, electron deficient hydride, they have less electron. Electron precious hydride, they have fixed electron. 8 electrons are there. For example, CH4. You see, C carbon has 4 electrons in outermost orbit, 1 hydrogen, this one is second hydrogen, third hydrogen, fourth hydrogen. So total 8 electrons are there. So octet is completed. So this one is electron precious hydride. Okay, these are the compounds which have the required number of electrons to write their conventional Lewis structure. So these are electron precious hydrides. Fixed octet is completed. Electron rich hydride. Electron rich hydride, in these hydrides, the total number of electrons in outermost shell, these are more than 8. For example, NH3, means not more than 8, but here you see hydrogen. If 3 hydrogens are reacting with nitrogen, they are making bond with nitrogen. It means nitrogen, it should have 3 electrons in outermost orbit, because 3 hydrogens are there. Okay, we have total 3 hydrogens, so there are 3, there should be 3 electrons in outermost orbit of nitrogen. That's why 3 hydrogens are reacting. Okay, but here, as you know, nitrogen has 2 electrons in the form of lone pair. So if in the hydride lone pair of electrons are present, if in the hydride lone pair of electrons are present, then these hydrides are known as electron rich hydride. For example is NH3. Or H2O. In H2O you have seen the structure of H2O, 2 hydrogen and 2 lone pair of electrons. Again this one is electron rich hydrides. Okay, so these are electron rich hydride. After covalent or molecular hydride, now we will see metallic or interstitial hydrides. So see, metallic or interstitial hydride, the word is interstitial. The word is interstitial. It means these are the hydrides in which hydrogen atom, it is trapped in interstitial space. Okay, so these are formed by D block elements and F block elements. The metal of group 7 and 8 and 9 do not form hydrides, so this region is called hydride gap. This one is very, very important question. What is a hydride gap? Hydride gap means you see in periodic table, first column, second column, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8, 9 and 10. These are the number of groups. So group number 7, 8 and 9, these groups are they don't form hydride. So these groups are known as hydride gap. So this 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are the groups which have cobalt, nickel and copper. So these 3 elements, they are not forming hydride. So this is known as hydride gap. Okay. These are non-stoichiometric. In these hydrides, hydrogen occupies interstitial space or lattice space. So see, first let's see what is interstitial space. So interstitial space means, for example, I am taking iron metal. Okay, so these are the atoms of iron in solid state. Atoms are arranged like this. Okay, so this space which is empty between atoms, this is empty space is known as interstitial space. Okay, it means the space between atoms, that empty space between atoms, that is known as interstitial space. Or we can see like this, if atoms, they are their shape is spherical, you know, atoms, they have spherical shape. So these 4 atoms are close packed. Okay, there is no any space between the atoms. But if you arrange these 4 atoms like this, then you can see the interstitial space, that is this one, this shape. This is called interstitial space. And since these space in this empty space, hydrogen atom or hydrogen molecules, they are trapped. Okay, because the size is very, very small, so only small molecules like small atoms like hydrogen, carbon, they can trap in this space. So these are the hydrides. So what are interstitial hydrides? metal, okay, metal plus hydrogen. And which metal? Generally these are transition element, okay, or d block element. In periodic table you see from group number 3 to group number 10, these are d block elements. So out of these elements, these d block elements, if they combine with hydrogen, they form interstitial hydrides, okay. And the position of hydrogen, so they are not forming any bond, any covalent bond or ionic bond or coordinate bond, nothing else. The bond is simple. Hydrogen is trapped between trapped in interstitial space or empty space. That's why they don't follow their valency. So here the term is non-stoichiometric. Non-stoichiometric means, for example, Fe. So Fe, we know Fe has two valencies, plus 2 and plus 3. If they react with H2, then according to Fe2 plus, it will form FeH2, and according to plus 3 valency, it will form FeH3. So this is stoichiometry because they are following their valencies. But the interstitial hydrides, they have formula like this: FeH2 2.9, FeH 0.98. So what is that? We know that number of atoms, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. It cannot be fractional, but here the number of atom is fractional. Okay, so such type of hydrides, these are known as interstitial hydrides. So let's take some example. The property of absorbing of hydrogen on transition metal is widely used in catalytic reduction or hydrogenation reaction for the preparation of large number of compounds. Okay, the property of absorption. So why absorption means what? Absorption means there will be no any bond actually. It's only attractive force like hydrogen bond. Okay, so in hydrides, since hydrogen is trapped in empty space, in interstitial space, so there is no any bond like covalent bond or ionic bond. So these hydrogen atoms are absorbed by d block elements. Okay, so this property, the absorption of hydrogen on transition metal, is this property is used as in catalytic reduction or hydrogenation for preparation of a number of compounds. You see, we have seen in class 10 the reaction hydrogenation. In hydrogenation, what, for example, CH2 double bond CH2, it reacts with H2 in presence of nickel to form CH3 single bond CH3. We have studied this reaction in class 10. Now here hydrogen, it is reacting with alkene. So from where we can get hydrogen? It's not this hydrogen is not present in air. Okay, this hydrogen is trapped in nickel. So this nickel has absorbed hydrogen and that is used as catalyst. So what is actually happening here? Alkene, they react with hydrogen in presence of nickel because nickel can provide hydrogen. So nickel is catalyst. So this is the catalytic property. Nickel, it is absorbing hydrogen and that hydrogen is provided to alkene. So this property is known as catalytic reduction. And last term is some of the metals like palladium, platinum can accommodate a very large volume of hydrogen, therefore can be used as its storage media. Now storage media means what? Here you see in 1 mole of element, total number of atoms, so total number of atoms are 6 so total number of molecules are 6.02 into 10 power 22. So a huge number of elements or huge number of atoms are present in 1 mole. So if 1 mole of atoms are present, it means a large volume will be available, means that interstitial space, a large volume of interstitial space will be available in 1 mole. and if the compound is 1 gram, then a huge space is available. Okay, so in such conditions, when the empty space, its a volume of empty space it is very large, then a large number of hydrogen can be absorbed, and these are known as hydrogen storage, because these metals are acting as hydrogen storage device or source of energy. So now we will see next water. So you know the formula of water, H2O. So we will see here the structure of water. In chapter number 4, molecular bonding and chemical structure, we have discussed about the structure of water. It's a bent structure. Bent structure like this: oxygen, one oxygen, two atoms of hydrogen, and two lone pair of electrons. So these are first lone pair of electron. This one is second lone pair of electrons. So this is the structure of water. And the bond angle is 104.5 degree. So this is the structure of water. Here from structure it is clear that H2O, it's not linear structure, it's a bent structure, and it has two lone pair of electrons. Next, structure of ice. If water is converted into ice, okay, so the structure of ice, it is tetrahedral. You can see here in tetrahedral structure, one oxygen, it is bonded with four different oxygen in tetrahedral manner. This is the tetrahedral structure. You can see here, this is tetrahedral structure. Okay, now from this tetrahedral structure, how this H2O molecule it is existing here. So this is the one H2O molecule, second H2O molecule, third H2O molecule, fourth H2O molecule, and fifth H2O molecule. So now you can see 5 H2O molecules are arranged in tetrahedral manner. Okay, earlier I have you have seen here that 5 oxygens are arranged in tetrahedral manner. Like that, 5 H2O molecules are arranged, and these molecules are bonded with hydrogen bond. And you see, you know what is hydrogen bond? It's a weak attractive force which is operating between hydrogen and electronegative element, and these electronegative elements are nitrogen, oxygen, or fluorine. So out of these three electronegative element, oxygen is there. So between oxygen and hydrogen there is hydrogen bond. So this is first hydrogen bond between this oxygen and hydrogen, between this oxygen and hydrogen. Next, so between hydrogen and oxygen, hydrogen bonds are present. So this is the structure of ice. Structure of ice, it is like cage like structure. In this cage, empty space is available. That's why the density of ice is less than water. Okay, now here there is a question. The question is, water, it's a liquid and ice is solid, and you know density of solid is highest among three states: solid, liquid, and gas. So gas, their density is very least density. Liquid, they have density less than solid but greater than gas, and solids, they have highest maximum density. So here ice, density of ice, it should be greater than water, but the structure of ice, it is cage like structure. Large empty spaces available in a structure of ice. So due to this empty space, volume is increasing but mass is not increasing. So that's why, what is density? Density, it is equal to mass upon volume. If the volume is very large, density will be less. So that's why the ice, its density is less than water. In 4th chapter we have discussed in detail. Now chemical properties of water. First chemical property is amphoteric nature. So in amphoteric nature means what? Element or the compound, they show acidic behavior or basic behavior. If the compounds, these are showing acidic behavior as well as basic behavior, then these compounds are known as amphoteric compounds. Okay, and this nature is amphoteric nature. So amphoteric nature means acidic nature as well as basic nature. So in first example, you see ammonia, it's a Lewis base. If water reacts with ammonia and liberates OH minus, then this one is acidic. H2O is acid. Why? Because NH3, it's a base. You see, this NH3 is a Lewis base. In 7th chapter, we have discussed what are Lewis base and Lewis acids. So NH3 is Lewis base. So H2O, it will be Lewis acid. So its nature is acidic. This H2O, this is acidic in this case. In next example, H2O, it reacts with H2S and forms H2O plus, hydronium ion and HS minus. Now see here, H2S, this H2S is acidic. So now H2O is basic. So here in these two examples, in first case H2O, it is acidic. In second case, H2O is basic. So this H2O is showing acidic behavior as well as basic behavior. So this H2O has amphoteric nature. It can act as acid as well as base. Okay. After amphoteric nature, redox reactions involving water. So water redox reaction in which one element undergoes a reduction and second is oxidation. So now see here in this case, oxidation number, we will count first oxidation number. Oxidation number of hydrogen, it is +1, oxygen it is -2. Sodium oxidation number, it is 0. In NaOH, sodium, its oxidation number is +1, oxygen -2, hydrogen +1. And in this case, hydrogen oxidation number is 0. So now you can see sodium, from this sodium, 0 is converting into +1. So this is undergoing oxidation. This hydrogen, from +1, it is converting into 0. So this is undergoing reduction. So in this reaction, reduction and oxidation, both are taking place and due to presence of water. So this is the example of redox reaction in which water is involved. Okay. So this is redox reaction involving water. Now, few examples of redox reaction involving water, these are this one. Hydrate formation. Hydrate means what? Hydrate means if the molecule, it only absorbs water. Okay, it is not reacting with water or it is not converting into ions. It is just absorbing water. For example, a sponge. If you sponge is soaked into water, then it will absorb water. So that is only hydrate formation. It is only absorbing water. It is not reacting with water or it is not making any type of bond with water. So these are hydrates. Hydrates are classified as coordinated water. Here water, it will be present in the form of ligands. This is coordinated water, means ligand. And what are ligands? So we will see this in detail in class 12. Here see only this one, that H2O is bonded with chromium via coordinate bond. So this is called coordinated water. It's a coordinate compound actually. Water is forming as a ligand and it is making bond with chromium. So this is a coordinated compound, and coordinated compound, the main character of coordinated compound, it is these compounds are written inside the square bracket. Okay, these are coordinated compounds, or this water is coordinated water. Next, interstitial water. Interstitial water means like interstitial hydrides. The molecules are present and between molecules there will be some space. In that empty space, water molecule gets absorbed, and these are known as interstitial water. This is again hydrate, because water, it is not reacting chemically. Water is not converting into hydrogen or oxygen, or the compound is not changing into some other compound. This water is only absorbed. Okay, so interstitial water is BaCl2, and last one is hydrogen bonded water. In hydrogen bonded water, example is copper sulfate, CuSO4.5H2. Class 10 we have studied that the color of copper sulfate, its the color is blue, but This blue color is only due to the presence of water molecule. If it is heated, then blue color changes into white color. Okay, so this color is due to presence of water. So now see here, if you write the formula in detail, then the formula is CuH2O whole 4, okay, SO4. This is a coordinated compound, but in this coordinated compound, one water molecule, this is present outside the square bracket, and this H2O water is responsible for color. So here now first question is hydrogen bonded water. Hydrogen bonded water, here there is a question, and this is very important question. The question is, how many water molecules are present in copper sulfate? So these are chemical properties of water. Now next is, after chemical properties of water, now we will see heavy water. Heavy water means, what is heavy? No, heavy water means, in this formula of water is H2O. Okay, hydrogen, it has 3 isotopes: protium, deuterium and tritium. So if you write the formula of water, it is H2O. In place of this isotope protium, if you use deuterium, then the formula of H2O, it will convert into D2O. This is heavy water. It's not some other compound. It is heavy water. Why? Because mass number of protium and deuterium, it is same. Atomic number is same, but mass number is different. Mass number of protium, it is 1, and mass number of deuterium is 2. So in this case, the water will be heavier. See, in H2O, total number of hydrogens 2, mass of hydrogen 1, plus mass of oxygen 16. So this will be 2 plus 16 means 18. Molecular mass of water, normal water, it is 18. In case of D2O, number of deuterium, it is 2, and mass of deuterium is 2 plus 16. So it will be 4 plus 16, total 20. So at molecular mass of this water, it is more than normal water. So this is heavier than normal water. So what is heavy water? Heavy water means if protium, it is replaced by deuterium, then the formula of water, water is called heavy water. So simple. If you write H2O, this one is normal water. If you write D2O, this is heavy water. Okay. So in heavy water, deuterium is used. Formula is D2O. It is extensively used as a moderator in nuclear reactor and in exchange reactions for the study of reaction mechanism. Here this H2O, your application of D2O, heavy water, this application is, it is used as moderator in nuclear reactor. Moderator means, the task of moderator, it reduces the speed of neutron. Okay, in nuclear reactor, the principle is the fast moving neutron, these are fast moving, there are 5 fast moving neutrons. Okay, but the speed of neutron, it should be slow. Okay, so here D2O is used to reduce the speed of neutron so that nuclear explosion can take place. So it is extensively used as moderator. Method of preparation. Method of preparation is, when water is electrolyzed, normal water, it is electrolyzed, then in during electrolysis, H2O, during electrolysis, H2O, it converts into H2, it decomposes into H2 and O2. So if we take 100 molecules of H2O, then out of 100 molecules, some molecules will be present as D2O. Means, here see, when water is electrolyzed, H2 is liberated much faster than D2, and the remaining water becomes enriched in heavy water. Meaning is, if you take 100 ml of water, then out of 100 ml of water, if 95 ml of H2O is present and 5 ml of D2O is present. Okay, it's not 5% actually, it's less than 5%. So if 95% H2O is present and 5% D2O is present, so during electrolysis this H2O is decomposing into H2 and O2. So the remaining water will be heavy water. It will be D2O, enriched of heavy water. If electrolysis continues, then all the protium or all the water, it will decompose into H2 and O2, and the remaining portion will be only of D2O. So now the question is, how much amount of D2O is present? So the amount of, it has been estimated that about 29,000 liter of water, if it is electrolyzed, then 1 liter of D2O is formed. So you can now here compare the volume of D2O and H2O. 29,000 liter of water. Okay, so out of 29,000 liter water, only 1 liter heavy water is present. So it's a very, very small volume. Okay, so how can we prepare heavy water? During electrolysis of normal water, and this water will be acidified, because the electrolysis of water, it takes place in presence of acids. Okay, so this is the method of preparation. After method of preparation, now we will see some chemical properties of heavy water. In chemical properties, there is nothing different. As you see, you have seen the reaction of H2O. For example, Na plus H2O, normal water. Sodium reacts with H2O to form NaOH and H2. This is the reaction. If you use heavy water in place of this normal water, then we will write formula D2O. So in place of hydrogen, we will write just D, and the reaction method is same, means the product will be NaOD. In place of hydrogen, we are writing only D plus D2. So we are replacing hydrogen with deuterium. So like that, we will write the we will see the chemical properties. Reaction with metal, deuterium or deuterium oxide. Here, what is the meaning of this? See, Na plus H2O, it forms NaOH plus H2. In place of hydrogen, we are writing Na plus D2O. So in place of hydrogen, we are writing just D. So the name of the compound, it will be sodium deuterium oxide. Sodium hydroxide. In place of hydro, we will write deuterium. Okay, deuterium. So it will be deuterium oxide. Reaction with metal oxide. Metal oxide, for example, sodium oxide reacts with water to form base. In place of hydrogen, just write the deuterium D. So these are the chemical properties. Here, what we are doing actually, just replacing hydrogen with deuterium. So the reactions is, the remaining reaction will be same. See here, SO3 plus H2O. Product is H2SO4. What we are doing here, just replacing this hydrogen with deuterium. So it will be D2 and D2SO4. See just the change. So this is the simple pattern. If you know the chemical properties of water, then you can write the chemical property of heavy water. And these are the reactions. Out of these reactions, these two reactions are very, very important. This one and this one. These reactions are very, very important. So take out this reaction. Okay. So in this way, these are the chemical properties of water. After chemical properties of water, now we will see the uses of heavy water. So first application, as a moderator. Moderator means it is used to slow down the speed of fast moving neutron in nuclear reactor. Second application, as a tracer compound. Tracer compound means to find out the mechanism of the reaction. Mechanism means you see this isotope it is actually isotope. So isotopes are used for identifying the mechanism of reaction. Okay. Next application is in nuclear magnetic resonance, NMR. These are the techniques which are used to find out the structure. Okay, means what is the structure of hydrogen compounds, for example, a structure of alcohol, and so many things are there. So this is a technique in NMR. We use heavy water. You will see this technique in higher classes. Formation of deuterium. In formation of deuterium, we have seen that this heavy water reacts with metal, non-metal. Okay, so deuterium is formed. For example, if Na reacts with D2O, it will form NaOD and D2O in D2. So this is the formation of deuterium. So this is the discussion for properties of hydrogens. Now if you have any problem, you can contact me. Thank you.